Hey everybody, KMO here. I am in an undisclosed location somewhere near Bellows Falls, and I'm here to view a tiny house, view and tour. So the tiny house is over there, and to tell us about the tiny house is the tiny house's occupant, Holly.
Hello.
So Holly, tell us, we're going to go inside and look at your tiny house, but say a little bit more about it before we go in. What can we see here from the outside?
Well, it's a 20-foot house built on a 20 by 8-foot trailer that was custom made with a dropped axle so I could get more headroom on the inside, specifically inside the loft. I had it built in Boston, Massachusetts by Bailey Duvall design build team, and we moved it up here last June of 2015 onto a property that I bought here in 2013, a couple of acres. And I bought the property, and then I went home and completely redesigned the house based on the potential views. So the house was designed and redesigned once I bought the property, and it all seems to be working out great. I've got a long, weird, steep driveway. I got through one winter with it. I've got insulated skirting, and so far so good. It's been about a year and a half. I like my peace and quiet, and the little house is doing well here, as am and my cat in the tent. So Kitty Carlisle was rescued from the shelter, and I think they actually made me promise that I would keep her safely indoors, which was my original intention, until she started expressing interest in going outside, and then I felt conflicted, and someone said, "You should buy her a cat tent," which I had never heard of, but lo and behold, a Google search rendered the cat tent, specifically designed for your animal. So I put it up out here, and now she has her own little house. I think she has about as much square footage as I do, proportionately. And she seems to like it. And the chipmunks taunt and torment her, and you know, she gets a little activity, but she's safe from the hawks and eagles and anything dangerous. Yep, she's only in there when I'm home. Per manufacturer's directions, of course. Do not leave your cat unattended in the cat tent. So she's good, she likes it. We both have our little houses. Okay. The house was built by a friend of mine who owns a company in the Boston area called Bailey Duvall Design Build. Bailey Duvall Design Build. And they wanted to have a tiny house in their portfolio, and I had a limited budget, so they offered me a nice deal to get their hands on a tiny house, and it fit nicely within my budget. So kind of a good union of situations there. And I think they spent about 3 months building it.
And what's the big ugly number?
The cost?
Yeah.
Well, I paid $27,000, but I think they lost about 10 grand on it, realistically. I think they didn't really realize what would be involved, and they thought they could do it for 25, but in the end, I know that they lost a considerable amount of money. But I ended up with a really good deal and a very nicely built house for the price. I think a house like mine would run much closer to 35 or maybe even 40,000 based on some of the other houses I've seen with these sorts of amenities. So that's just my projection on that. All right, so coming down the driveway, this is the first view of the house. You can see it's actually 8 feet 6 inches wide because I had an extended side built on the trailer, which I forgot to mention earlier. So the exterior dimension is 8'6", which is the legal width. You can tow something down the highway without a wide load banner on it. So 8'6" was the widest I could get, and wanted to maximize all the potential space inside. Above there's a small window that tilts out, and that's for really just some airflow through the loft area. And this window on this end is the bathroom end of the house. Then I've got the lower portion skirted in and insulated for winter. So this is the approach end of the house.
All right. So,
All right.
in we go.
So in we go into the little house. When you come in, this is my kitchen to the right. And you can see I've got really tall ceilings in here. Part of the reason my roof design is what it is was to maximize height up top, and also to allow me to take the stairs up to the loft, because as a grown-up I was not too psyched about climbing a ladder in and out of bed. So coming into the house, again, I just want to point out behind the door is a reasonably full-size refrigerator. It's the narrowest refrigerator that had a separate freezer I could find, and a lot of people live in these tiny houses with like a dorm style or cube-size refrigerator, which does not seem realistic to me. So that was a good choice that works for me. And you can see I have my built-in kitty litter box here, which is an important aspect of living in a tiny house, is to not have the litter box sitting right out by your living room.
Would you open the door again?
Oh yes. Specially designed for the lady of the house.
Very nice.
Yep. And my kitchen cabinets, yes, they are very tall. They go up to about 9 feet. But the thing is, you need that much kitchen cabinet. There's a lot of, I don't know how anybody lives in one of these houses with like one shelf or one cabinet, because you really need, you know, like a full pantry and dish storage. So I climb up on the countertop to get up to my upper cabinets, but I only keep things up there that I use very infrequently, so that works. And my cooking arrangement is the largest electric toaster oven that I could find. It holds a 17-inch pizza, and above it I have a convection cooktop, which I take out and put up here when I want to cook, but when I'm not cooking I can free up counter space by storing it beneath. To the left of the entry is my closet space. Again, some people move into tiny houses and seem to have about 10 inches of hanging room, but I actually have a functioning 3 feet of closet space in here. Beneath it I have shoes and boots, you know, household items, my tool kit, things that you really need, even though, oh, even my vacuum cleaner lives in there.
Oh, wow.
Part of it. You do find yourself jamming weird things into weird spaces here, because you end up with a, you know, a small space that something's got to fit in. And up here is, actually, now that I mention that, up here is my breaker box in the back of this cabinet, and my liquor cabinet and my luggage storage. So it's, you know, a little bit of everything fits in the bigger cabinets, but that's how you maximize space in a small house. And another factor that I really was intent on was having a large window, which again, the house was not really designed with this large window, but once I bought the property and came up and saw what my view would be, I redesigned it so I could have sort of maximum view looking out over the Connecticut River, which I can see seasonally. In the winter, I have a really nice view out there. In the summer, when all the leaves come out, I can only see a little sliver of the river, but it's nice. It adds a lot to a small space. And then on this end, I've got let's see, I've got my sofa, which pulls out and actually becomes a guest bed, comfortably for one, not so comfortably for two. But at least it's an option that, again, a lot of tiny houses don't have. If you have weekend guests or something, there's a place to sleep. And heading in that direction, I've got an antique desk that I sort of designed the whole house around this antique desk, believe it or not. It was my dad's and I insisted on keeping it. And above the desk, I had a 1920s Art Deco sideboard that I had my builder take the legs off and then reconfigure the doors and drawers so it turns into a very functioning tech cord gear. Everything fits in there. My printer fits up here. DVDs, believe it or not, old school. And I have a scanner that lives under here, and the whole office space, if you will, is very small but really very functional. So I got all the space I need in this setup here, and got to maintain a couple of antiques that I really wanted to keep. Opposite the desk area is my laundry. This is a washer-dryer combo. It washes, then spins so radically. It's like the whole house kind of moves a little bit, but washes and dries together, which is awesome. And this is kind of overflow of desk, bathroom storage. I've got some jeans, my laundry soap, just a little flow over storage space, which is super helpful. And underneath the stairs also I have, this is maybe too much information, but people showed their tiny houses all the time and they never really show you where they're keeping things. So right. I'm just showing you.
Tiny houses are like a little tea house.
They are. Like, there's my dirty laundry basket. Like, it's got to live somewhere, but where do people have them in their tiny houses? Linens, t-shirts, my sewing kit. I've got storage under these drawers, and I've got storage in the pull-out stairs. Lots of storage in here, actually, that lock and let you comfortably go up into the loft like an adult instead of climbing a ladder like a child. And I knew that seemed potentially dangerous if I did that. So continuing the tour, this is my bathroom, which is fully plumbed and functioning like a regular bathroom. I decided I wanted to have the option of taking a bath, even though I don't do it very often. I like to sometimes soak if I've pulled a muscle in my back or something. So I looked at the price of some Japanese soaking tubs, and they started at about $1,500, so that went out the window pretty quickly.
Well, that was your shrink wrap job, right?
That paid for my shrink wrapping right there. And then my dad said, "Why don't you use a livestock tank?" Hey, good idea. So for like $79, I bought this steel livestock tank and just had my builder. They had to plug the hole that was the original drain hole and then just drill in a bottom drain. And, you have to step in and out of it like a clawfoot tub, which maybe isn't everybody's cup of tea, but it serves as a great shower and, bath option. Yeah. You can fill it right up to your neck and get down in there, which is kind of luxurious, actually, to have that option in a little house.
No-slip mat down there?
A little no-slip mat and, bath and shower option. It's only 2 feet wide, so it is more narrow than usual, but, your body acclimates to small space living. You just get used to the space that you're in, and it seems totally functional to me. And then over here I've got the business end, which is just a standard toilet, and I've got my little bit of bathroom cupboards up here, which works nicely. This is the hallway to the loft, and it was designed specifically for the things that you don't need to be standing under, this side of the house.
Let me ask you about the toilet. Where does it go?
I'm hooked up to city sewer.
Oh, you are?
So it's actually plumbed, under here, connects to and runs, down to the sewer line, which happens to be at the bottom of my property. So the gravity works very well in my favor in terms of sewer connection. I have my own. Shot here. Yep, I have my own well, so I have my own water, but I am hooked up to city sewer, which is nice. Kept me from having to put a septic system in, which people say are kind of problematic and definitely expensive. So that was a nice combination for me. And the only thing I really had to learn is that when you bend down to flush the toilet, I really almost beamed myself a couple times when I first moved in here. But again, you do that a couple times and your body learns how to work with that. I still like the design. I still wouldn't necessarily change that because this is what allows me to stand up next to my bed.
And what is that switch there?
This is my bathroom light switch.
Oh, I see.
It's just this.
It confused me for
Yeah, can light here. Yeah. Brattleboro. It seems like a cool location. Drove through town, saw the radio station, saw the coffee shop. I was like a hardware store. The little city hall with the clock tower and the movie theater. I mean, I drove through and I was just like, I was instantly impressed with all the things that I find necessary to live happily in a small town, and it was very aesthetically pleasing, the river, and I drove up and saw the property, and I think I honestly made an offer on it like that very day, because after driving through downtown, I did a little walking tour, and I loved the architecture. I loved the walkability. The people were friendly. A couple of good coffee shops, a nice library. Just a lot of good things that make the town super livable, even from the standpoint of someone who, has lived a lifetime in large cities. It just seemed to have everything I really needed. And after a year, I'd have to say it still has pretty much everything that I need. I have very rarely had to drive, to Keene or someplace to get something that I can't find here. Bellows Falls doesn't have it. I guess I don't need it.